how do you avoid potential failures or blindness from like maximalism? If you say, okay, I believe these things in the ETH landscape. They're like absolute geniuses that wrote a lot of this stuff. And like, how do you avoid being blinded by that to say then it's always the best place where something occurs versus like finding potential innovation, whether it's on, Solana or Ledger Chain or whichever one it's going to be on.
Yeah. I think there's a few interesting topics in there, to be honest. Because I think maximalism itself is kind of a loaded term, but we'll talk about that afterwards, and I'll just answer your question because I am aware that I just talk sometimes and don't answer your question, go somewhere else with it.
That's fine. You're a natural politician then.
I think figuring out like the metagame of the market is like the most important possible thing that you can do, right? And like you'll feel the pain of this, right? Because you figured out a metagame without figuring out it was the metagame. I think you and Messi, you like bought a bunch of these coins at the start of the year that all went to infinity, but then you didn't realize the metagame was changing. Then they all went back down to your entry point. And like you left so much on the table.
I didn't ride it all the way back to the entry, but I probably missed like 5xing my like tradable portfolio purely by not rotating when it was obviously the time to like start rotating. And because everything else, the next batch of things was starting to go, you're not only missing those, you're drawing down instead. Like, and that's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your bag's not going down, but everyone else is going up. And like Twitter curates you the winners like on your feed, right? Because it's like what gets engagement, and it's the winners. So you're like, no, everyone's winning but me. But like figuring out the metagame is the most important possible thing you can do if you're trying to make money in crypto. The way you don't figure out the metagame, is go watch crypto YouTubers. Like they don't know the metagame. They just tell you whatever they think is cool or whatever they're being paid for, or whatever they've invested in, they got a good valuation for. You should just imagine they're promoting their own bags, even if they're not. Like sometimes they might be, sometimes they might not be, but they're good at content marketing. They're not good at crypto. Figuring out the metagame is really hard because it requires constantly being on your toes, right? So in 2013, after Quark, there was a bunch of these multi-hashing algorithm coins. Then there was Dogecoin. After Dogecoin, there was a mimetic bubble in Kitty Coin, which started a trend of low Satoshi coins. So if you had a coin that was one Satoshi, he was a price floor was in it, kind of. So low Satoshi coins like Lotto coin, that was the metagame. Then the metagame switched to API, like what's getting added to Cryptsy, because there was not really many bullish narratives. It was just where are people playing. If you fast forward through time, you end up in ICO metagame era, right, where you're like trying to buy the pre-sale before the main sale, and all that stuff that happened in 2017. If you go 2020, metagame was like a bunch of farming, like DeFi farming, yield farms, blah, 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 blah. At the start of this year, you had Bitcoin the Bitcoin trade going through to the ETH trade and the DeFi sort of resurgence. DeFi is like complacency top against majors. Then you had I think like the alt layer one chain trade and then the shitcoins, or maybe the other way around. I don't remember. And then you had the big Doge move, and then the following dog coins like Sheeb and all those started doing well. Then you had another NFT wave, and then you had the beginning of Solana season, or maybe Ethereum majors.
It was like like Solana and AVAX season, kind of on the tail end of that.
Yeah, so Solana, and then that rotated through to AVAX, and now it's kind of the Luna. The Luna trade has been doing pretty well, but within that, there was like a metagame all the time. And the best way to describe it is the Avalanche one, right? Because it was so clear and so obvious. And
even I could figure it out.
and so much of CT didn't, because they were just saying the whole time, like, oh, you're going to get dumped on by 3 arrows or something. Like, look, they've just done a fundraising round for Avalanche. They got in at $1. They're just going to dump it on us. It's like, yeah, but they're locked for 4 years. Like, they've got to shill it for 4 years. Yeah. They got to bid it for 4 years so that when it goes to 0, they're still up after 4 years or something. But like, that metagame was so easy because it's like, okay, it's the Ethereum ecosystem, it's ohm forks, dexes, stable coins, blah, 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 on Avalanche. That's it. That's the whole metagame. That's all it was. And it was so easy. You just buy those things and hold them. People come across the bridge. They join this ecosystem. And then people will spin out more and more strange things and try different things, and then eventually all the metagames end with rugs, so you get like Snow Dog rugged or whatever. And then the metagame changes again. So figuring out what that metagame is the most important thing. Now, I've rambled quite a lot, but there is a point to this, because I'm coming back to your original question, which is like, how do you avoid maximalism? Like, accept these trades, even if you think Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever is the only valuable thing in the space and everything else is just a scam or whatever. And it's to say, well, what is the metagame right now? And what do other people that are trying to make money, what are they going to do? Like, what are the smart ones doing now? Where is the opportunity? And where over the following weeks or months are people that want to make money going to join in? Where are they going to go? What are the things that are going to be looking good? And what is the time frame on something like that? So a lot of the Avalanche, like Trader Joe, I got into very early, around the time just before 3 Arrows announced they'd done a fundraising round for it. Because sometimes Suzu messages me and he says, what do you think of this? And it's like a project, and like 9 times out of 10 it's because he's considering doing a fundraising round, but I never know if he is. So I was like, he said that to me, and I was like, I know I'm in a good coin because that means he's doing the fundraising round. But if you know that the time frame on this position is shorter than some of your like real value long-term time horizon things, it doesn't matter so much about the maximalism, right? You just think it's going to go up over a short amount of time. I'm going to be able to play this narrative. I figured out the metagame, and I can buy it and sell it when I think the metagame's ending, or this particular thing's getting to a point where I'm not comfortable holding it anymore, or sell it to an investor.
Invest. Yeah.
Only